Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man in America. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse. If you look around in America, you'll probably notice one thing when looking at the adults wandering across this country, that nearly 1 in 2 of them is obese. It's an epidemic. It's literally an epidemic in America that I think as of a recent study I came across that 42% of adults in America are obese. Now, if you look at what we've learned the past couple of years about Big Pharma, you know that they're not actually trying to make us get healthy. They're trying to make sure that we're perpetual, lifelong customers. So if you look at the fitness industry and the supplement industry and what they're telling us on how to get fit and how to be healthy, it's the same thing, folks. You think that the entire health and fitness industry, this massive multi-billion dollar industry, isn't owned and run by the same big banks and corrupt people that are running everything else in our country? Because of course, that's what's happening. But there's a lot of truth to some basic principles of how to escape this rut that we've all been stuck in, that we're unhealthy, we're overweight, we're struggling, we're full of pain. There's ways out of it. Now, you also know that I've talked a lot about preparedness on this show. We're talking about getting storable food or learning how to garden or getting chickens and all these different things to basically become more self-sufficient so that if there is some sort of difficult time ahead, whether it's from an EMP or some sort of civil war or a breakdown in our food systems or a cyber attack, that you're able to sustain, you're able to keep your family good and feed them and protect them and have a little bit of currency set aside to get through those stormy days. But I'd say one of the single most important aspects of preparedness is this body. How healthy is our body? If we had to go work outside for days on end, could we do it? If we had to walk long distances to trade food or fuel, could we do it? And if you take this and you look at the fact that, again, 42% of Americans are not in an ideal place in terms of their physical health, where they'd be able to, walk uphill both ways, as my dad said growing up, to go to somewhere important, it's really quite an issue. So today's discussion is going to be with Dan Lyons, who came on very early this year. We had a great show. People loved it. And we broke down the issues of what was causing weight gain, looking at seed oils and metabolism and all this stuff. But today's episode is going to be looking a lot more at the diet and fitness industry, what we're being told, what happens when you just run cardio all day long, but also what are some really simple foundational principles of health and fitness that most people can apply very easily. So, folks, please enjoy the interview with my good friend, Dan Lyons. Hey, folks, I've got a quick message for you. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of people, myself included, talking about the importance of buying precious metals, gold and silver. But what's really behind that? Is just a thing of, hey, buy this gold, buy this silver, right? Or is there something deeper that we should be looking at? So I recently came across some figures about house prices. So in 1930, the average family home was approximately $4,000. Fast forward to 2023, the average family home is just over $400,000. So you have to ask yourself, why is that? Is it because things have just gotten more expensive? No, it's actually because the dollar has lost 99% of its value since 1930, right? When people talk about the collapse of the dollar or inflation, this is what it means. Now, let's take a look at gold. So in 1930, if you wanted to purchase your home in gold, it would take approximately 200 gold coins. So 200 gold coins would purchase the average family home in 1930, about $4,000. Now, if you, instead of buying a home with that gold or cash, you set those aside. If you set aside $4,000 in cash in 1930, it would be worth $4,000 today. What can you buy with $4,000? Can you buy a family home? No, you can't even buy a crappy used car. But if you set aside $4,000 worth of gold coins in 1930, which is 200 gold coins, 1 ounce coins, that would be worth approximately $400,000 today. And this is the key lesson about precious metals. It's not about getting rich. It's about putting your money into an asset that protects you against inflation and against the destruction of the currency, which is what happens to all fiat currencies, especially now we're in the end days of the dollar. And so that's why it's important, maybe not all of your money, but a portion of your money, a portion of what you have. I highly recommend putting it into precious metals of gold and silver, because what it's doing is it's protecting you. This is an asset that has stood the test of time, not just stood the test of time since the 1930s. We're talking about the rise and fall of civilizations. Gold was used to buy houses back in ancient Rome. It's still around. It's an asset that will forever have its value. So folks, if you want to do this and you need someone you can trust, there's no person I can recommend more than Dr. Kirk Elliott. He's a very good friend of mine. He's a strong Christian patriot, and he's out to really help people to protect their savings and what you've worked for against the destruction of the dollar, not to mention also protecting it against the dangers of central bank digital currencies. So to learn more about this, go to goldwithseth.com or call 720-605-3900. Again, that's goldwithseth.com or 720-605-3900. Both those places will allow you to set up a quick appointment where you can talk to a wealth advisor that will help get you started on this path. Again, goldwithseth.com, 720-605-3900. Dan, it is great to have you back on the show, man. Thanks for being here. How's it going?
It's going great, Seth. I'm happy to be back here again. It's let's see what's going on with me. I'm getting ready for a wedding. I'm really excited about that. It's about 3 months away. Other than that, I got a new webcam. I'm feeling good, and yeah, I've been helping a lot of patriots just get in shape and kind of prepare for what's coming. So everything's good on my end, and I'm just happy to be here again talking to you, Seth.
Awesome.
Always a pleasure.
Well, the first show that we did, I'll pull it up right here, is the sinister reason 42% of American adults are obese. Did like mega viral. We, on Rumble alone got over 100,000 views. And I remember it was like very quickly, we had 100,000 views within a couple of days. So it's obviously, this is information that people care about. And if you look at that fact, right, which is, I think it's close. I think it's like 49% for African Americans and adults. 42% roughly is the average, adult in America that's obese. This is really serious. But a lot of people, and I've been heavier in my life. I've lost weight, through different programs and everything. So I know what it's like to be in a situation where you're trying to navigate health. And I think that especially now, with what we've learned about big pharma, with the injections and this whole process, I think a lot of folks no longer trust big pharma per se, but then they might turn to the Muscle magazine or the health blog, which I've come to learn, especially through my conversations with you, that these things are also heavily controlled. So it's not like they've captured the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry, the Rockefellers, but they've left the entire weight loss industry to be this equally capitalistic. Whatever does best is going to rise to the top. It's full of pitfalls and lies, and it seems like just like they're actually keeping us sick. I think with our medicine, like they're hiding the real cures. They're giving us the poison cures. They're keeping us sick. They're also keeping us fat and unhealthy. And they're not teaching us how the human body works. They're not teaching us why things like high fructose corn syrup or seed oils or things like that are perpetually keeping us more and more fat. I think it's also part of this overall attack on humanity, and that's why speaking with you is refreshing, because to me, you're like the Brian Artist of like fitness. Whereas, Brian's going to come in and say, hey, don't do that. These medications are killing you, etc. I look at you as someone that is looking at the lens of the human body and the physiology and the fitness of the human body, and interpreting it and saying, hey, like this is like the deep state viper pit, don't fall into that. So I'm looking forward to this interview, because I think a lot of people that are probably watching this, if that figure is correct, that over 40% of American adults are obese, I'm sure a lot of folks that are watching are saying, you know what, I could really lose 10 pounds or 30 pounds, or they're thinking like, well, if the world's going to end anyway, or if the apocalypse is coming, or Is it really that important? So I'll just go to hand this over to you and just see where you want to go with it, because there's a lot of really fun and
Yeah.
important stuff to focus on today.
Yeah, no, thanks. That was a great summary. And I just want to add, not that we're going to talk about this today, but it made me think about captured entities. The supplement industry is very captured. I'd love to get into that at some point. Not today, but yeah, I think the whole goal is to make us sick, make us dependent on them, and them being the globalist entities, these satanic globalists. And whatever they're planning is going to happen in the world, it's going to be better if we're sick. And if we're not able to defend ourselves physically, if we're not able to think clearly, if we are dependent on them for medications, and our metabolism is not functioning properly, and we're just weak, and we're not even able to get out of our own way. So a perfect example of this is being plugged into the metaverse and just sitting there and having a drone deliver us food. That's what they want in these smart cities. And so I'm kind of all about getting people independent of that system, and healthier again and stronger again. And I just want to say that no matter who you are, whatever your fitness level is, whatever your age is, it's never too late. It's not just, I make progress in the gym or with dieting or anything when I'm in my 20s and 30s. You can do so at any age. And, I'll just kind of go on a little bit of a tangent now and explain. My oldest client is 97. And I've been training her for close to 15 years now. And the amount of improvements that this client has made is mind-blowing and very eye-opening to the fact that anyone can get in shape. It's never too late. So that's kind of the first thing I want to say. I want everyone to really understand that it's never too late. A lot of people give up. They try again every year around the holidays. They get the that incentive, the New Year's resolutions, and then they just kind of throw in the towel and say, I'm too old to make results, to make progress. So I really want to emphasize that you're never too old. But since I did my nutrition course, I didn't really talk about working out a lot. I think I touched on it a little bit, but I've had a lot of people reaching out to me and saying, well, how do I work out? How do I actually do it? How do I exercise to see results and everything? And I've been getting back to everyone that's been emailing me, but it was so much that I wanted to kind of shift gears and focus on educating people on how to exercise. Because there's a lot of myths out there. We're told by the medical industry that we should be doing cardio, for our cardiovascular health. But it's a lie. We are not aerobic by nature. We don't have, we use aerobic respiration, which is the metabolic pathway of aerobics. We use that for specific tasks like walking, sitting on the couch. But to actually do something, we are more anaerobic by nature. So we're built kind of more like a cheetah, whereas a wolf is a little bit more aerobic. A wolf is geared towards using aerobic respiration to jog through the woods for hours and hours and hours. We're not really designed for that. So we're kind of told this big lie that we should always be doing cardio. And it's nothing against the people that actually like to do cardio, but most people don't really feel good doing a lot of cardio like that. And it's because we're fighting our bodies. We are more anaerobic by nature. We're more like a cheetah. So what that means is we use explosive power for short periods of time. Just think of a cheetah. They hide and then they jump out, and they're able to be explosive and move quickly for a short period of time, and then they get gassed. And for us, that's just how we are. And we can't really become different than that. We are very, very anaerobic by nature. So what does that mean? you should be doing weight training. You should be doing resistance training. So the benefits of that would be you're increasing your bone density, you're increasing the strength and integrity of your joints, your tendons, your ligaments. You're decreasing your blood pressure. You're increasing all of those good tissues, and you're also decreasing body fat. So I just want to emphasize that the cardio thing that the medical industry pushes is not the truth.
Folks, perhaps you'd agree with me when I say that over the past 5 years, the mainstream healthcare system's credibility has plummeted. Alternative healthcare systems that aren't beholden to medical consensus or big pharma are on the rise. Sweetamine is time-tested and proven to boost your life with better health. It's one of the leading products that helps with inflammation and daily aches and pains. Just because you get older, it doesn't mean that you have to feel old. And folks, did you know that most of the diseases that make people sick and die these days are rooted in chronic inflammation, oftentimes due to glycine deficiency? So sweetamine is composed mainly of the amino acid glycine, the nutrient that the immune system uses to regulate inflammation. So with once daily sweetamine, most people feel the reduction in pain after just a few days. So I challenge you to the 12-day sweetamine challenge to fight inflammation and take control of your health today. So folks, buy sweetamine online at sweetamine.com or call 855-GET-SWEET. That's 855-438-7933. And make sure you use promo code SETH, SETH, to get a nice discount on your purchase. Which is important because, for me, I was heavier as a kid, right? When I was, I think, by the time I was 15, I think I weighed like 250. I was one of the big kids, and it made me who I am today. And it's I was able to overcome that young in my life, which was great. But I hated cardio. I hated it because I was always last. I was always the one running the 12-minute miles and and whatnot, and it was miserable. And it just but once I actually started doing more weight training when I was younger, that's when I think a lot of things changed for me. It was like, oh, like this is very different. But before we jump into the specifics of like exercise and the human body, I want to take the global look at, from your perspective, the ways that we're being prevented from getting healthy, because that's also really important. And I've experienced this too, just this frustration of like, why can't I get in shape? And it feels like it's like, it's like Mount Everest. It's like, okay, 10 people try and one person succeeds. Everyone else dies along the way, right? It just feels so difficult. And as I feel like for me, it's like I'm fighting these habits, and I'm fighting the high fructose corn syrup I had as a kid. I'm fighting all the seed oils, and there's just so much that's stacked against us. But I think it's good to recognize the role that the globalists and these bloodsuckers have played in keeping us unhealthy. It's almost like, say you're a race car driver and you're like, you're trying so hard, but you're always last place and you just give up. But you realize actually somebody was like dumping stuff into your gas tank to make it so your engine was only running at like 60% efficiency. It's like, if you understand that first, you're not going to be so hard on yourself. So how do what are some of the ways, because I'm trying to also help people feel a little bit better about the fact that a lot of people struggle with trying to lose weight, but it's not because we're just lazy people. It's because these globalists have put in so many just factors and systems in place to keep us fat and unhealthy. So how about you touch on those? Like, what do they say that the top ones that you've seen, that you've identified, that keep people fat? And then we can go into some of the kind of the key foundational elements to how to break out of that cycle.
Yeah, I mean, so I can tell you right away, the first thing that comes to my mind is exactly what we did our show on last time, is high amounts of linoleic acid in people's diets, specifically here in the West, but all over the world. It's never talked about. Everyone always talks about glyphosate and dyes like red 40 and yellow 5, and those things are not good. But linoleic acid is the reason that our metabolism is crippled, that we can't lose weight. What happens is our cells can't make energy. Just in a nutshell, they can't make energy from the food that we eat. So we start storing that food instead of burning it for fuel. It also cripples a pathway called beta oxidation, which, just a reminder, is the metabolic pathway that we use to burn our own body fat. So nutritionally, there's, this elephant in the room, I like to call it, of this high amount of linoleic acid in our diet. And then piled on top of it is, and we're specifically talking about the food industry here, piled on top of it is tons of sugar. Because, when you're not able to create energy properly, you become reliant on a pathway called glycolysis, which is carbohydrate metabolism. So you get addicted to carbohydrate. So it's like this, the food industry is its own monster, right? With what I just explained. But then we have other things too. We have the air. Look at all the chemtrails in the air. You have aluminum, you have barium, a bunch of other heavy metals, which increase oxidative stress, which is basically contributing to the same problem as linoleic acid. It's destroying our cells' ability to make energy. You have fluoride in the water, which is another, element, another heavy toxin that is crippling the way that our cells make ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. If anyone remembers, I did, our last interview, I really went into adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency for the body. Fluoride cripples that process. So, and then you have your medicine, the injections, the therapeutic injections that, the world was kind of tricked into taking, loaded with all sorts of chemicals which destroy our electron transport chain. I mean, we're talking about the same thing, right? And then we have blue light coming through our devices, increasing oxidative stress. We have radiation from 5G networks, increasing oxidative stress. So all of these different angles are bombarding our cells. So basically our electron transport chain gets broken. We're not able to make energy properly. And then we start storing that energy as body fat. And we're not able to burn our own body fat anymore either. So there's like this, we're being bombarded from all sides to make it, and this is going to answer your question directly, Seth, to make it so we cannot lose weight. So even if we, diet and do all these things, we need to fix our metabolism first. And this is one of the reasons why I'm also a big pusher of doing resistance training. So resistance training being dumbbells, body weight exercises. So you're rebuilding your cell's ability to make energy when you do that stuff. So you're having basically your electron transport chains are able to rebuild. You're able to make energy from the food that you eat again. So there's really nothing bad that can come out of resistance training. And when you do cardio, that does not happen to the same degree. All you do is just pump blood through your body. And I'm not saying that cardio is bad. I'm not. I'm saying that there's a lie out there that tells us that we should only do cardio. And it's usually from a chain smoking, overweight doctor that tells us that we need to, do our cardio and we're at risk for major cardiac event. That's what they like to say. They actually, funny little story, I was told that I am 70 pounds overweight and that I am at risk for this major cardiac event because I am morbidly obese. Now they're going by the body mass index.
And they told me you look it. I mean, you've got like 4 chins hiding under that beard. I can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, there's a lot of lies out there, Seth, and we all just have to try to see through them.
Yeah. Well, I think this is also important because obviously a lot of what I've covered and what you and I have talked about before offline is preparedness. And this is one of the keys. I mean, I've read a lot of books, both fiction and nonfiction, about whether it's EMPs or plagues or disasters. And when you look at how that plays out, you can see how important fitness is because right now we don't have to work that hard for our food. Now you could talk to a farmer they understand, right? They understand that now, granted, these days, I still know a lot of farmers that are really, really fat because they're just climbing up into the combine, right? So that they're
Mhm.
especially some of the older ones because they've got young kids, the young muscle that's working, and they're kind of at that phase. But go to a healthy, active homesteader or farmer, and they're in good shape. They know that the importance of being in good shape, not just because when you're in good shape, you don't need big farmers meds and all that kind of stuff, but also you can survive what comes. So it's an area of just preparedness that I think a lot of people are talk about being prepared, but they don't say, are you physically prepared? Like, are you able to, if you had to, could you walk 20 miles in a day? If you had to, could you, lift 50-pound bags of rice? If you had to, could you pick up a 100-pound pig or any of these kinds of things, these different scenarios that might occur? Or, not to mention, if you had to, could you physically defend yourself? Right. And that's a whole different one. And obviously, you're not teaching martial arts, but a lot of this does come into training. But also, a big one is that, how susceptible are you to breaking a bone? Right. How weak are your hips? And this is something that, when I first started working out and I was, studying a lot about exercise, they talked, I remember reading these studies about what happened when they took resistance training into these elderly homes, right? These retirement homes. And they had I saw these videos like these 80-year-old ladies are doing deadlifts. And people would think, wait, an 80-year-old lady doing a deadlift or a squat, and isn't that going to hurt her back? It's like, no, it's the opposite. It's going to make her bones strong. It's going to help her back. And it's kind of funny though, because it's the opposite of what we've been led to believe. So I know that, a lot of your perspective and even on your website, you talk a lot about this, is that it's fitness for preparedness, right? It's about being fit, not so you can go to the beach and show off your biceps and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually about just, this is the vehicle God gave us. This is our temple, and it's just keeping it really strong and healthy. So when it gets into the more of the nuts and bolts of how to get fit, how to lose weight, what are some of the key components? You've obviously talked a lot about cardio and how cardio is leading us down the right path. You've mentioned resistance training, but explain that more. Except for a lot of folks, they've maybe never stepped into a gym, or maybe they have, but they've gone to the treadmill. So walk us through some of the details of like what you're explaining here.
Yeah. So what I'm explaining, I'll answer your question immediately, and then I'll elaborate. So what that means is you don't have to go to a gym. You can work out at your house with dumbbells. You can work out on the floor. You can get a bench. So that would look like, doing sets of chest presses with dumbbells and squats and rows for your back muscles. And I want to also just touch on a little bit of a lie, saying that, women always get a little bit weary of weight training because they don't want to get bulky. Now, it's not in their genetic potential to get bulky. So you can kind of forget about that. They don't have the testosterone of a man to put on serious muscle mass. It's kind of another lie that was told to us. Women shouldn't weight lift because they're going to get big and bulky. So what we're talking about here is fitness for men and women. You can do the same thing. You guys can do deadlifts, you can do squats. You're not going to get big and bulky. What's going to happen is you're going to increase a little bit the muscle mass that you have. But think of it, if you're a woman or a man and you put on 1 more pound of muscle tissue, that will increase what's called your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories you burn in the course of a 24-hour period. So you're going to slowly start to have a faster metabolism just because you have 1 more pound of muscle tissue spread throughout your whole body. You might not even notice that muscle tissue. You might not look in the mirror and see it, but your body, the amount of calories that you burn in a 24-hour period are going to increase when you have that 1 extra pound of muscle. So what that could mean is, you do resistance training twice a week, and you're doing that, and you have maybe 0.5 pound more muscle, maybe 1 pound more muscle. You're not going to notice that, but you're going to be walking around throughout the day with a faster metabolism, burning through calories. You're going to lose weight. So you might lose 10 pounds of weight from that 1 pound of extra muscle mass that you have. So again, don't think of being a big, bulky bodybuilder. I don't even work with bodybuilders. I work with the average American who wants to just lose weight and tone up. So, there's two different scenarios here. There's scenario one where people just want to get in shape because they want to look better, they want to feel better. And I can give you an example about that. I have a 76-year-old female client, and she came to me. This is in person because I do group training in person up here in the woods of Maine, if you can believe it or not. But this older woman, she came to me. She came to my class. She couldn't lift more than a 3-pound dumbbell, and now I have her doing shoulder presses with two 15-pound dumbbells, and she lost probably about 15 or 20 pounds. So she's become more confident, stronger. She's able to get around like she never thought she would at her age. She couldn't even hold herself up against a wall at an angle. And now she's doing a full plank for 1 minute, followed by chest presses with 15-pound dumbbells. So that's just kind of like, that's scenario one. You want to feel better. You want to look better, lose weight. You want to get stronger. You want to be able to, at any age, just have an easier time in your life. Everyone wants to look better, feel better. And then you have...
Folks, before I tell you about a very special offer, I want to first explain why this product is absolutely worth it without the discount. I don't take a particular supplement just because I get a discount. Anything as important as nutrition, I'll research that first. If you go to balanceofnature.com, then scroll down their homepage to see all that goes into each bottle of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies, you'll see, like I did, it's well worth it. But it's not just the ingredients. The real stories come from real customers, and they have hundreds of thousands of customers. Each customer's success story is just another example of how people are finding and taking Balance of Nature's fruit and veggies. Take their risk-free money-back challenge today and use my special promo code to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement and free shipping. So call 800-2468-751 or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use discount code SETH. That's discount code SETH and get 35% off plus free fiber and spice supplement and free shipping.
Scenario two. So scenario two is more so what I went to school for. So I went to school for exercise physiology. Yes, I'm a personal trainer, but exercise physiology, we really focused on athletes and athletic performance. So I've worked with pitchers, catchers, quarterbacks, linemen, tennis players. I worked with 2 Olympic bobsledders, which I don't think I even ever told you about that, Seth. I don't choose to work with those people in my career as a personal trainer, but it's the same process of scenario two. Someone breaks into your house. So this end of the world scenario, right? Where you're sleeping in your house, there's roaming gangs in the streets. God forbid, but we don't know what's going to happen. Someone breaks into your house. No matter what age you are, you're going to need to be a little bit stronger. You're going to need to be faster, clear-headed. You're going to need to act swiftly, wake up, be coordinated, move across your room without fumbling and falling and hurting yourself. If anyone's dealing with an injury, like knee injury, hip injury, shoulder injury, back injury, you're going to need to improve that condition for yourself and your family if someone breaks into your house and it's this lawless society. So that's kind of scenario two, is that you need to improve your strength, your coordination, any injuries that are holding you back. You need to kind of maximize your muscular stamina, because I'm going to be honest, if someone breaks into your house, and I'm not condoning violence, but I'm saying that if you need to neutralize a threat, whether you're a young man or an older man or male, female, it doesn't matter. It's probably not going to last long because we are anaerobic, like I said, by nature. And we have that inclination to be explosive with our power. So that's like when you're talking about exercise physiology, you're using anaerobic pathways. And whatever is going to happen in your house that night, if someone breaks in, you're going to have to think quick. You're going to have to be strong, coordinated. And, that comes with two different categories here. So first of all, locally, we're talking about what muscles need to be conditioned. So your glute muscles, your butt muscles, all of those muscles basically drive everything, propel you throughout the day. So if you need to do something and think quick, you're relying on your hamstrings, your glutes to kind of push you forward to propel your body to do whatever you need to do. And your quads are involved, which is if anyone doesn't know, the front part of your leg. And then you need core strength, okay, to be coordinated while you're going through your house in this example. You need your chest to be strong. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. You can become better. You can become stronger at any age, no matter if you're male or female or how old you are. So that's kind of like locally, we need to get certain muscle groups awake, doing their job correctly, because I'll be honest, from our lifestyle, sitting down in a seated position at a desk job is one of the worst things you can do for your muscles. So your glutes become too long, and then your hip flexors become too short. And then when you stand up, you have back pain. And then your quads become too tight on the lateral side, which is the outside. So then you develop a condition called chondromalacia, which is the most widely known, most common knee problem. People have pain in their knees when they go up and down stairs. Well, that's why. It's from sitting too long. So you kind of need to know what muscles to condition, how to do them. And then you have kind of like the global system-wide, like I mentioned, we're more like cheetahs. We're not like wolves. What I mean by that is we have several different metabolic systems in our bodies. And yes, we have an aerobic pathway. We do have the pathway that a wolf has, but it's not optimized. Genetically, it's not our preferred way that we do exercise. So we have a system called the phosphagen system, which is the immediate, like 5 seconds of explosive power. Then we have a pathway called anaerobic glycolysis, which is like 2 minutes of all-out exercise. So if you were to sprint, you can't sprint for 10 minutes, but you can sprint for 2 minutes or 30 seconds. It's very, very short-lived. So that's kind of an example of anaerobic, almost like a cheetah. And then we have aerobic glycolysis, which is, your long-distance athletes and more of that wolf tendency for metabolism. Then you have beta oxidation, which is just when you're sitting on the couch. So you have these 4 systems. And I wish I could show you like a diagram, because I was always super interested in this when I went to school for ex-phys. But we are more inclined to be more anaerobic, like I said at the beginning. And you can kind of get scenario 1 and scenario 2. The scenario 1, you just want to look better, feel better, better bone density, healing from injuries. And then scenario 2, we have like the end of the world situation, and we all need to be like stronger, faster, better at any age. You can kind of get both of those scenarios done at the same time, simultaneously, by working out correctly and just knowing what to do. So that all comes back to resistance training, like I always say. So
resistance,
that's what it is. Yeah.
So resistance training is basically you're pushing against or pulling against a weight of some sort, right? So whether you're doing a chest press with a dumbbell, or you're doing a bent over row with a dumbbell, you're moving your body against resistance, right? As opposed to cardio, which is you're just running on a treadmill or a stair machine or something like that, right?
Yep.
So,
Exactly. Yep.
okay, now, because I think that for a lot of people, they look at, and I know I certainly have it at times too, resistance training is like the guy that's kind of just doing his curls to make his biceps look bigger, right? And it wasn't until earlier in my kind of stages of working out that I discovered the importance of, say, compound lifts and squats and deadlifts and lunges and the things that I was a little more hesitant of, or they were more difficult because I was like, especially with deadlifts, for instance, a lot of people look at deadlifts and think, oh, you're going to get hurt doing deadlifts. And actually, let me pull up while we're I'm just going to pull up a picture of a deadlift because I think for people that aren't familiar with what a deadlift looks like, let me see if I can just find an image to pull up here really quick because, let's see. Yeah, here we go. So this is just to share with folks. The deadlift is actually, it's probably like my favorite exercise, but it's when someone just picks weight up off the ground, and you can see, even if I search for Google Images to look at deadlift, there's all these articles and things about getting injured with it, and how bad it can be for you if your form's not correct, which is true. But this one I think is a key one. So as we get into the specifics of resistance training, I'm happy that you said you don't need a gym, because I think that's a big hurdle for people. Like, they're not comfortable going to a gym, or like you have gyms like Planet Fitness have become really woke, and they're letting men into the women's bathrooms, and there's all kinds of weird stuff going on at Planet Fitness, or it's just expensive, right? Planet Fitness, which is super budget, maybe $10-20 a month, but a lot of gyms are 40, 50, 60. I used to be part of Equinox in New York City at one point. It was like $200 a month, right? I mean, that was a different stage of my life, but so now I work out at home. So, walk us through, like, if someone, let's just say someone's watching us and they're thinking, you know what, it's time to really get in shape. I'm tired of not feeling healthy. I'm tired of being tired. Walk us through, what does the basic setup look like? And let's create an archetype, right? We're not talking about like a really healthy 25-year-old guy that just is raging full of testosterone and hormones. Let's say, a 60-year-old woman that is, relatively fit, but has, aside from going on walks around the neighborhood, hasn't done any resistance training almost in her whole life. What's the process look like of getting something up and going that can start actually, have it making an impact on this person's overall health and physiology?
Yeah, no, great question. So there's two answers to that. The first is going to be the very clear cut. I'm just going to say everyone needs to exercise all the muscles of the body. So specifically prioritizing the legs, and then prioritizing the core and the back muscles, because all of those muscles in your back hold your spine intact. Anytime you bend over to get anything, your discs could literally pop out the back of your spine if it wasn't for your muscles, your erector muscles that run parallel to the spinal column, holding your discs in place. So every joint in the body is held together by tendons, which attach to muscles, which with bones create all of that magic, right? So squats, deadlifts, chest presses, rows for the back. And again, these are all things that I have men and women doing. Actually, a lot of women do these, and they don't gain weight. So again, don't be afraid. I don't want to say it was a psyop. I don't want to say that, but the days of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the bodybuilding days kind of got a bad rap, because those guys are all taking juice. They were all taking testosterone and testosterone derivatives and growth hormone, and also those guys were freaks of nature. So you see these big giant guys and you see them deadlifting, and you might get nervous and say, well, I don't want to look like that. But chances are you could never look like that. It just, even genetically, if you were to take those drugs, you wouldn't be able to look like that. Those guys are one in a million, and they take lots of enhancements. I have nothing against, I'm not trying to judge them. A lot of them have incredible physiques, but that's not the average person. The average person just
So
wants to get
women won't look like this after like a few weeks of deadlifting, right?
right. Exactly, with the bar bending. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep, and 99% of men won't even look like that. That's why you see men struggling in the gym to try to look like these guys. You need to be the top 1% of your genetics to be able to put on that muscle mass, and you need to be chemically enhanced with testosterone and trenbolone and DECA and all growth hormone and all these different drugs. So that's to get back to your question of what that would look like. Yeah, those are the things that you need to do: squats, deadlifts, rows for the back, core exercises. But then there's the other thing of, well, technique is very, very underestimated all the time. All the time. I see it as a personal trainer in my own industry all the time. So, little side note, I can. This will give you an example of what I'm saying. I just happened to stumble upon a fitness influencer who was a Marine, and he's doing Marine style workout prepping for whatever happens in the world. And he's got a lot of followers on YouTube. And he literally, I watched this episode, him literally telling people uh, the 10 main exercises that you need to be prepared for whatever's coming. And number one was a pull-up. Okay. And in my mind, I'm like, the average American can't even do one pull-up. It's like he's like, oh, you just put your hand here and you put your hand here and you just pull up. And then you come down and you just pull up. And I mean, whatever he's got going on, good for him. I don't mean to talk badly, but that is an example of how technique is very overlooked. Knowing your audience, and our audience is the average American. The average American is not someone who can sit there and do 20 pull-ups and then get down and do 20 push-ups. We're talking about people that, they're parents. They have kids. They have a busy schedule. They don't have time or energy to even think about doing 20 pull-ups. They can't do 20 pull-ups. And then you have grandparents and all these people. They need to be guided on how to do these exercises, because there's no emphasis in the fitness industry on how to do these techniques. So sorry for that tangent, but that's what I specialize in is techniques, how to actually do these exercises. Because I've had a lot of people reaching out to me saying, well, like, how do I do these exercises? How do I do a squat? And I'm like trying to email them back and be like, well, put your hips way far back, kick your butt out, keep your back. And I'm like typing this out. And I'm like, well, good luck, because I really need to show you.
Why don't you actually show us? I'll full screen you. Show us two things, if you don't mind me kind of creating a little program for you to do. So
Yeah.
I'd say squats and deadlifts, right? Two things that I think are like probably the most easy to screw up the form on. And, also I would probably venture to say that screwed up form on those particular exercises can have some of the worst effects on the body, right? In terms of injury. If you're deadlifting wrong and you hurt yourself, it's real bad. So why don't you show us, if you don't mind, for deadlift and squat, show us what bad form looks like and what good form looks like. This is like a quick demonstration.
Oh, sure.
Are you fine doing that?
Exciting. All right. All right. You put me to work.
Actually, so Dan, I'm going to go ahead and give a quick caveat here for people. So folks, Dan is my personal trainer. So that's, and we thought about, okay, should I tell people that? And you've helped me so much, and you've helped me correct my form. And, I've been working with you for a long time, because you started work, you were watching the Man in America show, you reached out to me. And anyway, so that's where that comfort comes from, the fact that, he and I are talking every week. He's helping me. You trained, my wife, you helped train Kate, leading up to giving birth, so if you can work with a pregnant woman or whatever, it's great. But that's where this kind of comfort comes from. And so anyway, we've talked a lot about this. I've learned so much from you. It's like, well, dude, why don't you come on my show? It'd be great, because your information is so helpful. So anyway, I was going to throw that out there, and I'll let you continue though.
Yeah. No, I'll just, all right. Usually when people do a squat, you can see me, right?
Yes.
When people do a squat, there's a ton of things that go wrong. I'm going to show you the right way to do a squat, and then I'll show you the wrong way, all the wrong ways that I see. So this is the right way to do a squat. So you need to have your feet a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And if 12 o'clock was straight in front of you, you need to have your feet pointed slightly out. So at like 11 and 1 o'clock. All right, so that's for the hips. Then you want to rotate your hips back like this. So stick your butt out just like that. Then you want to lift your chest up, keep your shoulders squeezed down and back, and then just put your arms out in front of you like this. And then what you're going to do is just come down as far as you can, sit straight down, kick your butt back, and then straight up like this. So usually what happens is people will make the mistake of keeping their body upright like this, and watch my knees go forward. Ready? So if I squat down, keeping myself straight up like this, my knees go forward. See how my heels lift up? All of that pressure for my whole body gets driven out my knee. And you don't properly stimulate the muscles that you're trying to work. So you're not hitting the glutes, you're not hitting the hamstrings. You're just putting your knee at risk. So instead of going straight down like this, you need to kick your butt back like that, but keeping your chest up like this. So in order to do that, you need to build mobility in your spine. So there's a lot of little nuances with a squat. And usually the people that I work with at first, they're not able to get down that far until they build flexibility in their hamstrings. And in order to do that, you need to do hamstring exercises. But usually people might only be able to go down to here, and that's okay. So as long as you're kicking your hips back, your hips are rotated back like that, and then you stand up. So that's kind of an example of a proper squat. And then deadlift, usually I have...
Actually, I'll interject real quick, Dan, just as it relates to the squat, is that, even though, we think of squats, you have this big barbell hanging over your shoulders. From my experience, let's just say someone has a 20-pound kettlebell, or they've got two 10-pound dumbbells. If someone can do even body weight, if someone can have proper form and do even 10 to 20 proper form body weight squats, that's already an exceptional level of fitness versus a lot of people that can't even come close to that. So it's not that you have to have this big weight setup. A lot of this stuff, what I've found is just body weight and just our own bodies, just what the mobility and health that we can create just using our own bodies is incredible.
Absolutely. And that is mainly because people don't use their muscles during the day. Like they're always in a seated position. So these muscles right here shorten, and then these muscles here lengthen. So then people start shuffling when they walk like this, instead of using your glutes to push you forward. So there's a lot of issues that come physically from our lifestyle today. But yeah, to answer your question, you're not going to have a big barbell on your back. You're going to do body weight squats, and maybe you might hold a dumbbell like this. But there's a lot of, you can make a lot of progress with just your own body weight. And then, a Romanian deadlift would look sort of like this. The Romanian deadlift is meant to strengthen the glutes, strengthen the hamstrings, strengthen the core, and everything in between. So basically what you do is you put your feet shoulder width apart on this, and your feet are both pointing at 12 o'clock. If you had a clock right here. And then you want to hinge forward from your waist, picking your butt way back like this with a very modest bend to the knee, and then standing straight up like this, keeping that posture with your hips rotated back and your chest up the whole time. Usually what people will do is they'll do this with a rounded back, concave shoulders, and then they'll throw out their back, like my father says. So...
And I think you explained to me that one time, just in how the vertebrae work in terms of why that keeping your back in the right position, and how I understand it is, imagine you took a stack of hockey pucks and you stood on them, right? Those hockey pucks are really strong. Even if you're 200 pounds, they can support you. But if you start bending those hockey pucks the wrong way, that puck, the middle puck is just going to shoot out and the whole thing collapses. Is that an accurate way of understanding why it's so easy to screw your back up, and why the right form of a straight back is so important?
Yeah, exactly. And to go back to the erector muscles for a minute that run parallel to the spine, when you arch your back like this and you have that rotation of the hips back, that means that those erector muscles are engaged and keeping your spine safe. They're keeping your discs safe. That's why if you round your back and lift, you're going to throw out your back, like my father says, because you're going to have a disc injury. You're going to have all sorts of issues. So it's very important to get the right posture and technique when you're doing these exercises. Everything's built off the core. Think about it. Your shoulders are basically at the top of your core, and your hips are at the bottom of your core. So if you're able to control your shoulders and your hips and everything in between, then you're way further along than you ever thought. So that's kind of my strategy of how I get people in shape for scenario one and scenario two. So,
And so, in rounding out the discussion, obviously, I think we've gone over a lot of really useful information, and we'll do these shows more, just going over the basic information that's helpful for people, educating people, which is a big part of what I want to do on this show, is just teaching people. But you've also developed a specific course and a class for this, right? I know that you built your whole model initially on doing one-on-one personal training, but you're limited as to how many people you can help with that. So tell us what you're doing with the Patriot Trainer, because from what I've seen, because I've done a lot of different workout programs, like what you've done is you've created something that's like hyper affordable, but also that's really pinpointing. It's like the whole 80/20. It's like put 20% of your effort or put 80% of your effort into the 20% that actually matters, which is not going to be, endless hours on the treadmills and that kind of stuff. So
mm,
walk us through your Patriot Trainer system you've developed.
yeah, I'm really excited to share this with everyone because I'm like bursting at the seams with excitement to be able to offer this and help people get in shape. Because I was going to, and I still am, I'm going to do another course. But in the meantime, I'm like, I need to get people in shape now. We don't know what's going to happen in the world. We don't know if the grid's going to go down tomorrow. We don't know. And like, I have this anxiety in me because I care about people, and I get this anxiety. Like, I'm trying to get this second course out to people, and I'm trying to explain to them, you know, kick your hips back here and keep your chest up and this and that. And I'm trying to like make my second course built off that. And then finally, I'm just like, you know what? I need to actually like show people with my own body. I need to have some sort of way of giving personal training sessions to people where it's not just like one-on-one Zoom sessions, because I want to reach a lot of people, and you're not able to if it's one-on-one Zoom sessions, because there's only so many hours during the day. And also, it's really expensive to do one-on-one sessions. I wanted to come up with a way of training patriots, specifically patriots, as many as I possibly could, getting everyone in shape for whatever happens today and tomorrow for scenario one and scenario two. Because, like I said, we never know what's going to happen. Next week we could be in an entirely different situation that we are now in the world. So I came up with this really cool way of people basically get delivered 2 personal training sessions that are pre-recorded by me every Sunday. And how it works is it's sort of structured like my last nutrition course, in the sense that you make a username and a password, and then you log into your account. And in that account, you'll see your personal training sessions. And then every Sunday, you'll get 2 more. And I leave last week's sessions up there just in case people go on vacation or they just didn't get to it. So you'll always have last week's 2 sessions and this week's 2 sessions. And it's really, really exciting, because it's not just like I'm sending these people this random library full of pre-recorded sessions that I made, and I'm just sitting back on the couch just sending them these videos. I'm making these in real time based on the feedback and the comments and the interactions that I have with people from like last week's session. So if you sign up, you basically get these delivered video sessions of me explaining stuff like I just did to you over there, Seth, but also taking people through a workout. I've been doing this. It's just launched 2 weeks ago. I did a series of beginner stuff to just explain shoulder positioning, hip positioning, and everything. And now we're just starting to get into the actual workouts, and they're for like beginner entry level phase people, and we're building it up from there. So I want to get a lot of people in shape at the same time. So yeah, you just go into your account and you see the 2 current personal training sessions, and you see last week's training sessions, and people are able to comment, ask questions, leave feedback, and I'll kind of like be able to see where people are at, because I can comment back, I can get back to people right inside of each session, and then it'll help me to craft the next week's personal training sessions based on the feedback I get from the week before. So I'm doing this with people in real time, and the only thing that's different is that I'm sending you pre-recorded videos that I make based off of the videos, the sessions that you do from last week. So that way,
and you've got a little video, right? So I'll play this really quickly. Actually, you've got a short little video, about a minute or so, that explains this, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you ready for the end time scenario? We talk a lot about prepping, but what about prepping your body? Have you ever wanted to hire a personal trainer, but it's just too expensive? Introducing Personal Training for Patriots. This program will help you lose body fat while increasing strength, stamina, flexibility, and overall health. It doesn't matter how old you are or your current physical condition. All Patriots can take this program. So here's how it works. Once you click Sign Up Now, you will be prompted to create a username and password with the Patriot Trainer. You can log in on any device. Every week, I am going to be sending you 2 brand new pre-recorded personal training video sessions. Right inside of each session, you can interact with me and ask me questions. All exercises will be done slowly and deliberately to maximize results while staying safe. Since these sessions are pre-recorded, you don't have to do them at any specific time of day. I will walk you through each exercise and give recommendations on what weight to use for your age and your fitness level. Sign up today so you can prepare yourself for whatever is coming.
So walk us through. So this is something in the past that I look at, like, okay, it's probably pretty expensive, right? Because it's relatively custom. It's weekly, twice a week. So how much does it cost? Like, what's that process look like for people?
I'm very excited to say that it is $14.99 per month. So that is the price of Netflix.
Yeah, it's the inverse of Netflix. Okay, so it's $15 a month, and they get, now what does that give them access to? Basically, what do folks get for that?
Everything. So they get all of the introductory sessions that I already recorded. I think there's 5 of them, just describing techniques and theory and everything. Those will always be on there. But then as soon as you subscribe, you'll get access to this week's current sessions and last week's sessions. So the sessions are usually anywhere from 25 to 28 minutes long in length. And I'm taking people through a workout. And again, it's not a high level workout. This is for the average American. This is for men and women to just help you lose weight, feel better, tone muscles, gain strength, but also at the same time protect you from whatever is coming. Help you get into a better position physically. So you get those basically 4 sessions of last week's and this week's, depending on when you sign up. And you get to watch them at your convenience. So you don't need a gym membership. If you have a gym membership, you can take your phone with you and do the exercises at a gym if you want. But this is meant for people at home. So you can do them anywhere. All you need is a set of dumbbells and a mat, right? You can do all these things from home, from any device. You can do it from your laptop, from your desktop, from a tablet, smartphone, whatever you want, and you don't have to do them at any specific time of day, like you heard in the video. These are pre-recorded, they're on demand. I mean, you can even, not that I would recommend this, but you can even like repeat and do the same training session 5 days out of the week. I don't recommend doing that.
Say someone did just 2 a week, and it's let's say it's 50 to say 56 minutes every week. A lot of people in the past, maybe they were thinking, oh, you need to work out 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I mean, can someone really actually see any noticeable results working out less than an hour a week? Or is it, this is just going to be for the introduction, maybe you won't really see much result from it, but it's okay anyway? How would you respond to that?
No. Definitely people can see results. For my whole career, I only train people twice a week. And it's because when I was first starting out, I was into bodybuilding 15 years ago. I was like working out at the gym 4, 5, 6 days a week. I thought everyone needed that much, until I realized that not many people really want to be a bodybuilder. So I started training the average person twice a week. And occasionally I would train people 3 times a week, but they don't need it. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I went to school for ex-phys, we reconstructed a study of people that didn't work out, and then they started working out once a week, and that basically comprised of a 5-minute warm-up and then 2 minutes of all-out strenuous exercise. So in total, 7 minutes once a week. Everyone across the board made dramatic results. You don't need a lot. That's another lie, is you don't have to be slaving away on a treadmill every single day, fighting the weight off in order to see results. So you're going about it a different way. You're increasing your muscle tone, which is therefore increasing your basal metabolic rate, which I said before, which is the amount of calories that you burn in the course of one day. So let's just say you're someone that by nature, where you are right now, you have a certain amount of muscle mass, you burn 1,000 calories per day. Well, if you increase that to 1,200 by having a little bit extra muscle tone in the course of 7 days, you're only working out twice a week, you're going to be turning yourself into a calorie burning machine every day by only working out twice a week. So that's an example of how you don't have to work out every single day to see results. If you went on a treadmill and you're running on the treadmill for half an hour, you burn 100 calories, and you do that 5 days a week, would you rather do that, or would you rather do 25 minutes of resistance training twice a week and have an elevated metabolic rate? So that would mean if you occasionally slip up, you go to a birthday party, or you're eating something you're not supposed to, or let's just say you want to have a night off with your wife or husband, go out to eat, you're going to be able to eat things that you wouldn't normally be able to eat because your basal metabolic rate is higher. You're going to be burning through those calories faster. Versus if you had less muscle tone, your basal metabolic rate would be lower, and that would have more of an impact. You'd go out to eat, and the next day you'd feel it. And then you would think, oh, I have to go to the gym and like work it off. There's no working it off with resistance training. The idea, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, is to increase the amount of calories you burn in a 24-hour period. And that will then carry you through an entire week if you work out twice a week.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So that's the benefit of resistance training.
Well, Dan, it's been great having the conversation with you. We'll make sure that in the link below, in the description below, there's a link for the workout system that you set up. Also, there's a discount code, Seth. They get a discount on SETH for a discount on the program. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a patriot within this sector of things. And we'll have to have you come back on. Looking forward to it. So thanks again, man.
Thanks, Seth. It's been a pleasure. I always love talking to you. And yeah, everyone just look for that link below, and hopefully I'll see you there.
All right. Take care and God bless.
All right. You too, Seth.
Folks, at the very heart of our democracy lies a principle we hold sacred: free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom we cherish. Yet, in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where wealth protection research steps in, armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They're defenders of free speech committed to giving a voice to the silenced. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't even touch, and listeners can get it completely free. So text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, then act now. So text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 Election Protection Report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. So folks, today, text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy.